Years of Saw. We're all here to celebrate together. My name's Mike. I'm from RUE MORGUE magazine, and I'm super stoked to be here and celebrating with you. I think we're good to go, so let's welcome COSTAS MANDYLOR and SHAWNEE Smith. How's it going?
I'm gonna be cliche and have my Starbucks here, both of us.
I'm missing mine.
Dude, we just walked didn't even stop. It was perfect timing.
All right, so we'll jump into it because
time
sucks and time constraints. So, franchise has been going on for 20 years, and both your characters are iconic and span the franchise. And I know this because that last film, I mean, you reprised the role, you're back, and that last scene where you pop back in, there was a pop in the audience when you came back in. So why do you think your characters resonate so much with fans of the franchise?
Well, look, when I was invited on board, all I said to myself was, these people did such a great job, just don't fuck it up. This ship is sailing beautifully, just do the right thing and do a really good job. Now, obviously, there was a lot to live up to because it was a smash surprise hit, but the work that Shawnee and Tobin did on film, with, of course, the writers and all that kind of stuff, worked out to be one of the most surprising, iconic things in movie history. And now Shawnee can elaborate because she was there at the beginning. I just joined in and tried not to screw things up.
Perfect segue.
It's as if it exists in the ether, you know, and we just get dropped pieces of it. Because when I first did the first film, I couldn't have imagined 3 generations now of Amanda fans. And this character developed. I remember in 3, I came across a book called A Bright Red Scream. Obviously, you know, she was a drug addict from the beginning. But there were these stories of young women, and it dealt with self-harm, which nobody really talked about. And so over the years, she has meant so much to so many people. And 10 was amazing because all those years later, it never happens. You get to go back and play a character. That doesn't happen, especially with no CGI. You're
they did a good job.
You know? And I love you guys for, you know, accepting that, but you had a good script, so fair enough. But it was, I swear to God, it was I signed the A with the heart now because it's all 3 generations of Amanda fans were in here, and I felt like all of us were in her in 10, and it was pretty unbelievable. I had fan art things in my dressing room, including a picture of this young woman named Angel who unfortunately took her own life, but she was. So one of her friends came up to me and gave me a picture and said what Amanda meant to her, and had little jewelry. What do you call it? Talesman or little talesman, right?
Yeah.
Little jewelry on in 10. It was just so cool.
Well, I think you answered the next part because I was going to say, was there a moment or an experience with a fan where you realized the cultural impact of the film, where you just kind of stopped and you said, shit, the art I've put out there has really made a difference in people's lives? All
the time. That's why I couldn't speak at first, because the last people I spoke to before I came here shared a story with me that was I couldn't get the words out. But that happens all the time, you know. I have beautiful letters from fans that, you know, it just turned out that, and she was just kind of, it's not so much that I did, it's just I don't know, she was just meant to resonate.
And I see people walking around with Detective Hoffman glam shirts, just glam shots of you. So I mean, that's very important as well.
Dude, I love the counterbalance. I was Kevin Dillon and me on The Blob. You know, I was so serious and spiritual about it, and Kevin was just he cracked up at me and kept it light. And And I hope in 11 we get to have more of this and just explore what it was before, 6, and it was like, nah, 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 nah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope, I don't know if anything's been put out there, but I hope they do run with that in that direction. But
Yeah, they're working on it, but they want it to be good, You guys deserve that.
Yeah, you do.
This is the most intimate Q&A.
Yeah, and a warm welcome too. Thank you.
you know what? I saw some other ones with some major production. You guys got intro music, and I was like, shit, we don't have intro music. So I was a little
Dude,
bit.
in Manchester, we finished it with we all danced to a Skin Dread song. It was epic.
Costas, was there a moment for you where it kind of hit you that you've made a real impact, or you had like a fan experience?
Well, when I meet people like I've met some of you on this particular trip, people share some things with me that kind of surprised me at the beginning, and then when I hear Shawnee talk and Tobin about these little intimate letters that come our way, it changes the perspective, because I do try to keep it light and keep the surprises coming in the film, but I do take it seriously. But it's amazing. It depends on the genre. It's just amazing how you can touch somebody through movie magic. And in this dark and weird and wonderful world, some beautiful things happen, and some relationships have been made with fans and whatnot. And I care about you guys like you care about us. You give us a lot of respect in general. I sometimes used to think I was corny writing the quote, because they said, do one of your favorite quotes, and I'd write down cherish your life. And after what Shawnee just shared with us, it's not so corny. So, whoever's out there, if you're having any issues or whatever, cherish your life as much as you can. But who thought we'd be having this kind of conversation with Saw? I remember,
Right?
I remember a reporter once when I first joined the group, and he said, he or she, I can't remember, they said something like, something porn, what is it, like
Torture porn.
Yeah. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Have you heard the questions that these people ask us? Have you seen the detail that these people pay attention to? You're an idiot. So you are not idiots, and that person was.
Great response.
I think this turnout speaks for itself, really.
Listen, you talked about epic moments with fans. I just had one. Can you stand up and put that crown back on? I have never in 20 years seen the fucking, how many are there kids?
Wow.
That's awesome.
The jaw trap as a crown. Dude, that is genius. Bam.
Very memorable. I didn't see that. Great.
That's the new thing. All right,
was
jaw
trying to
trap
get-
as a crown. And it started right here
There you go.
with you. What's your name? Keegan? Yes. Dude, that was genius.
Excellent.
And one other
Sorry, go-
one other epic moment I had yesterday. Has anyone seen Who's Harry Crumb?
Yeah.
Here with John, the movie I did with John Candy. Okay, for those few of you who had, this guy came up to me yesterday. He says, "Have you ever imagined John Candy and Who's Harry Crumb solving the Saw mystery?"
That's amazing.
I would love to make that movie, but you couldn't do it without John.
We can go into stories about John, but when they told me we have 25 minutes, I'll keep it focused.
Yeah, I
the
want
limousine
to
stories.
make sure we have time with you guys.
Yeah, so
before
the
we
fans
go.
are why we're here. So let's throw it to a couple fan questions. Share yourself. Yeah.
Shawnee, my favorite thing about the franchise are the Easter eggs that get thrown in and all the unpredictability that comes at any moment and you realize it. My favorite one was Saw 3, like near the end when we thought all along that Lynn was the one who was being tested. Then Tobin tells us that he's testing you. And
Yeah.
that kind of thing was probably like one of the best things that I think I ever saw in the franchise. But how are you guys able to all come together and make that happen? Like the script, like,
It's crazy how these scripts happen. I mean, like, a lot of the time, especially 10 was like, it was together. It was written by like fans fans of the movies, especially like, the first like 4. But honestly, like, we'd be filming and genuinely we didn't really know what the ending was. And it's literally been like it exists somewhere out there in total, and we just get dropped these pieces, like that book that got dropped to me, or like, it's
And
crazy.
magic
We'll
is-
never know. But But yeah, it's wild that way. And that was like, I mean, that was a tragic. And the end of Saw 3 was just the saddest thing there ever was. Because if she could have trusted, she wanted to. You know, like, he was the first person that ever saw her and believed in her. And she really wanted to trust him, but in the end, you know, and the whole house went down because of it.
Even some of the camera work that comes into some of those scenes, like you see like the head nod and he says like I want to play a game, and it focuses on you and it focuses on you. It's like then you see like what's really going on, but we didn't know until the end. It was so brilliantly kept, like a secret, even to the fans throughout the movie. You didn't know, but then it all brilliantly came together.
Yeah, our DP is pretty well. We had a lot of the same crew, right, in Toronto. For most of the films, it was like repertory filmmaking, which is like the ultimate kind of filmmaking, I think.
I guess it's nice to have that consistency across films too, right? Like,
and you get to like keep the family together, and people have kids, and film business is like make this intense family, and then you disperse as much as you love each other. Like people are busy in their lives, and so it's.
Take one more question. Sorry, up in the front.
Hey, huge fan.
Thank you.
I was wondering, like, for each of you, what was your favorite movie to film, and like personal favorite movie in the franchise?
Oof. You have a favorite?
I would say 3 was my favorite to film, just because that's really when Amanda, like, when I really understood her, she came into her fullness, and there was so much I got to do in like flashback scenes, and then the bathroom scene and the fight with Donnie. We were totally robbed on the MTV Fight Award. Weren't even nominated. I could not believe it. But if you ask me if I could only pick one favorite, it would have to be the original, because it was so genius and it set it off.
Obviously the original is the unique catapult to everything else, but I liked 5 because it told the backstory of, you know, what happened, why I joined in or tried to join in, why Tobin Bell decided to do what he did, and but I kind of loved filming. I think it was 7 because I got to just become a bit of a wrecking machine and paid no mind to his advice, and you know, I got away with it for a little while, so that was fun.
So you both have mentioned Tobin, and you once posted a picture with him, and you said something about like I swim in his sea, #happyfish, and Costas, you've also mentioned working with him and the importance of connection. What does he bring out in those scenes when you're acting with him, and is there like a memorable moment that you've had working with him on a film?
Well, the swim in the sea comes from, I've never told anyone this before because I've never been asked, but he wrote me a note, and in that note it said, "You swim in my sea." It was to Amanda.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
I didn't expect an answer like that.
And that's working with Tobin. We were really well matched because we both just approached the human beings in this big, like, you know, like they're kind of monsters, you know, and it could have so easily been like master and apprentice and these big, you know, concepts. Like the beginning of 3, it was written that I come into the lair with like the robe and like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, first of all, I'm tiny. And you have the actress who played Lynn Denlin, who was like just fierce, you know, and bigger than me. And so I put his hoodie on and I came in with groceries.
That's awesome.
You know, and then I got a weapon for Lynn and messed with her, you know. But like our rehearsals for 3 were just doing what John and Amanda would do, finding the reality of that. Like, what did they do every day? Like, walked and talked, and she took care of him, and like the details of that. So
I think it comes back to the beginning, the humanizing experience, and again, why these characters resonate, because you said it could just be monstrous, very obscure, and
which ended with all our big Shakespearean ending at the end of 3. And we were kind of like all those years later, like, shit, you know, we really screwed ourselves out of. But at the same time, we just did 10 because it resonated with you guys, because people need people, you know. The other stuff is super fun. also, but
Yeah.
you know, now we have 10.
They found a way to rectify the tragic love story, and we're glad they did that with.
Yeah, and thank
with
God
10.
Tobin and I look at each other. We're like, thank God we kind of kept it together enough, you know, physically.
And you, Costas, is there a moment working with Tobin where, because you've
there's-
spoken to the connection before.
There's so many funny ones and so many serious ones, but I think that because of the work that Shawnee did with Tobin, as far as the gravitas they gave the characters and whatnot, it gave me a little bit of room when I finally got to join them to play around a little bit, because everybody's different. They've got a different approach. So when I'm around them, I tend to either be mischievous or I get serious so they don't think I'm an idiot, or that I do take it seriously. But they gave me a little room to sort of tiptoe through the tulips sometimes and have a little bit of fun that they don't look like they're having sometimes, because they're pretty
Yeah, but your
heavy.
mischievousness is like, it's not different from the seriousness. Like, comedy and horror go together. They're like two sides of the same coin, and you need that, like, that lift. You can't be too, like,
Yeah.
serious, you
Yeah.
know? Like,
Well, I'm a smarter actor than I thought. Thank you, Shawnee.
you are.
But
I hope they explore that in 11, like the
Sure.
earlier, you know?
Sure.
There's a lot of interesting material there.
Yeah.
And it takes balls to take the time to find that, as opposed to, like, just throwing something out
Yeah.
to have it out by, you know.
And the fact that everybody's different, they bounce off each other, and you never know what you're going to get. I loved it when she whispered to me I was a knuckle dragging, you know what, and my reaction to it was, I thought it was a kind of a sexy scene, to be honest. But Tobin, I've made him laugh when I didn't try to make him laugh, and that was a relief
Which is
for me.
hard to do.
Yeah, man. When he was on that operating table and he finally laughed, I said, "Oh, okay, this can be fun
Thank
too."
God you were there.
Yeah, but the Tobin, called me. I tell this story and I'll tell it one more time. Calls me at 11 o'clock at night. The night before, he puts me on. When he catches me when I try to do the revenge thing with my sister, and he teaches me the lesson, and I wake up and he's there with the gun at my neck. But he called me at 11 o'clock at night, going, "Costas," and I go, "Oh shit, it's Jigsaw." Yeah, I mean, what does he want at 11 o'clock at night? He wanted to talk about the scene. And he said, "Meet me tomorrow." And he took me for a walk through a snowy, wet Toronto street full of traffic. And he just walked and talked and glided through the traffic like the traffic was missing him on purpose. And I was dodging traffic, trying to catch up, going, "What was that you said again?" My butt was hurting, my muscles were hurting. And by the end of the thing, I realized that he wanted to make the scene as full and beautiful as he could. And he did a good job, but he made me work hard walking through those streets. He just glided. And I was like, anyway, I've had great times with him. I've seen him laugh, and I've seen how serious he takes it. And it's a testament to the series that Shawnee and Tobin did their work way before I got there.
That's awesome.
So thanks to them.
I think we should give it to the fans for a couple more questions. We'll take two more. There's one in the back there. Yeah, yourself. Yeah.
What was your probably the most goriest saw trap to you, like filming, and what do you think was your favorite saw trap that you got to work with?
The scariest?
The scariest.
Well, let's talk to the woman that was in the needle place.
That for me.
That rack with that Umpo is the name of the actor. That was pretty. I'll never forget, like, coming through when he was filming that scene. I was like, holy.
Rather uncomfortable.
Yeah, he did a great job at that. And then my favorite has to be the jaw trap, hands down, because that's the iconic image, and you just can't see that stuff coming. That was amazing. Very lucky.
For selfish reasons, I'll say the jaw trap because I got out of it, and
Yeah.
the coffin because I got out of it.
That was pretty clever, the jaw trap.
I mean, there was no other option.
Yeah.
When they had that little thing on the door, does everybody remember that when it's about
Yeah.
to snap? I mean, everybody thought I was going. Who thought I was going to die? Bad luck.
We'll take another question, please. I'll go at the very back there. Yeah, yourself. Yeah.
Okay. I guess this is for either of you, but when Hoffman was in the glass coffin, I saw it and I was like, I hit with the glass. But what for you? What was it like just being in that, and then like you're stuck underneath, and then Strom's just getting mushed?
Well, I want to lie to you and tell you it was glass, and I lay down carefully, and it was dangerous, but it was rubber. and it looked good, but it was comfy. The uncomfortable part of that was when they shut it and I had to go down real slow. There was no air in it, and we had lights in it, and it was very hot. But, you know, I just keep my cool, and they came to get me just in time. But the discomfort was minor compared to probably other actors. But it was warm, and there wasn't much air in there, that's all. Now let's do the other version. The glass was sharp, man. It was tough in there.
To prepare for it, he dug himself a grave and went in a coffin.
For weeks.
It sounds like the walk
that
with
is
Tobin
my
was worse.
biggest nightmare. Dude, buried like
we'll
that.
do one more from the audience. Yeah, yourself.
Do you get anxious, like when you're filming or getting into the saw traps at all? Specifically, like the needle pit one, because that one makes me squeak.
Dude, I was like, getting past the needle pit scene was like getting over hump day during the work week, you know, or like a bigger hump. It was a big hump. I was really intimidated by that scene. And, but it was cool because once I got in there and I just was like, find that key, then it was easy, you know? It's like anything, the build up, you know, especially like when you're procrastinating with something and then it just gets like being behind a wave and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So you procrastinate more and more and then you finally like have to do it. And then you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. So don't
She was pretty
procrastinate,
good, right?
people. Just get those things done. Just sooner the better.
I feel like, you know, in these discussions, over time, it's you know, beyond obvious that you're going to become one with the character. That like there's some ownership over that character. If you had any kind of creative power and you can go back, is there anything that felt off-brand for the character that you would change, or something you were filming
interesting question.
and that just maybe didn't resonate with you, or you're like, yeah, I don't know if this is out of character for Amanda or Hoffman?
I would say the bickering between Hoffman and Amanda was a little lazy, you know, which I hope to revisit. Not revisit, but like, especially because it's earlier in the story. Like, there's always more to that, you know. And I feel like there was some
Underdeveloped.
There
maybe?
was some bicker with who was like a female character.
Yeah. We'll have to send our notes over to the
Yeah.
producers.
Anyways, you know, it's just like you could go. It could be more interesting, you know, and more explored. But you know, you have limited. Listen, the producer like, if there's not a trap in the first 10 pages, you know, like you guys want the traps, but we're actors, so we're gonna go for the humanity and the depth.
There's room
and
to
the-
explore. Can I say something? There's a guy that's been politely lifting his finger to ask us a question.
Yeah.
If I point him out, let him ask a question. It better be a good question.
Go for it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that acknowledgement. I guess my question was it's actually an addition to the initial question, which is, you know, there's all these different nuggets, and even just this last week, I've been going back and watching random ones in no particular order. And I guess my question is every script truly written after the next one? Or, like, to me, there almost has to be some type of planning, big picture as to, okay, like, this is what's going to have to happen in number 3 or number 4, because just
Absolutely
nothing
not.
nothing.
Absolutely not. Back to these pieces are just like dropped from the ether. But 10 was written years ago. 10 was like a love story written by, you know, fans of the characters in the beginning, you know? So it was like, it was so organic.
Yeah.
And it was back where they were talking about making that when Spiral happened. So I think they were going to do it back then, and then, you know, Chris Rock was like, I want to make a Saw film, and everyone was like, I want to see that, you know? I wanted to
When you
see
talk about
it.
things being dropped down, do you think at whatever level is above yourselves, there's kind of a grand vision as to where this is?
I feel like the story exists out there, you know? I mean, I will never know. Maybe I'll take psychedelics one day and I can come back and give you the information. But That's definitely my experience of it.
Thank you both.
Thank you. I got you.
Yeah.
You bring the psychedelics next trip.
We'll meet here again next year with the
Could you
psychedelics. and then-
imagine?
So the traps, they're big and they represent the moral, personal dilemmas. If Jigsaw had to build a trap for you personally, what would it be? Or what would be the main flaw or reason? I have Costas. Okay, I'm going to set you up, okay?
If I built it,
No, what would be built for you?
For me?
If Jigsaw's coming after you, like Costas. Now, I know the reason would be, like, in Saw 5, the premiere, your poor mother came with you, and she wanted to hold your hand.
oh, you heard that one, huh?
And you were too cool to hold your mother's hand.
I
the whole time.
told it, get over there. The fans are looking at me. I'm dangerous. Get over there.
And he wouldn't hold mom's hand, and I think she went and sat down.
She
after.
sat. Yeah. I can't be. That was my first
dare
big
you.
premiere. People are going, oh my God, that's him. And she's going, I'm supposed to be some kind of untouchable thing. Go over there and sit with your friends. I paid
you
for
Greek?
it. Yeah.
That's a Greek mom for you. I'm surprised she didn't punch you out.
Oh, well, I paid for it.
So is there something you have in mind, Shawnee, in terms of like a trap that would be set out for you or a reason why? What would Jigsaw pick at you for?
I had this thought the other day that I think it would be really interesting to see Amanda and Cecilia in a trap together. I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but I think it would be really interesting, and I would love to see a little more in-depth female gaze on the franchise and the characters. It's been 20 years. Could like get a little more interesting. But
All right, I think we have time.
guys don't always get it.
Yeah,
But
I know.
I think that would be interesting.
Again, producer notes. We gotta just forward everything. We'll just get them to send the footage from this panel over to producers. And
Yeah, right. They'll
weave
really
in-
listen to that.
Yeah.
They might though. They listen to the fans.
We'll do one more fan question. Freddie Glove. Yep.
Hi. That's totally normal.
I'm going into special effects and makeup, so I have a more technical question for the camera. When you were in the bear trap, or example that, when it popped open and you put your head in the thing, how did you get the special effects? Was it done on set? Or like the messed up mouth? Or was it like...
We had the real one that was heavy and steel and all that good stuff. And then we had the lighter one that was kind of rubberish. And I just remember that we had the tighter version, the looser version, and when I ripped it off, it was just angled properly. And, I eventually did microsurgery on my face because I'm a wonderful surgeon, and it all worked out for the better. But I just thought it was well done, and I was proud to be in it because sometimes if things look implausible, you feel embarrassed, but I guess it worked out pretty good. And that's what you're going to be doing in the future?
That's what I want to do. I think it's really cool in the way that Saw does it. It's so graphic and nasty, it makes me
The crew, and I think it was like a lot of the same crew.
Yes,
All
yes.
the films in Toronto, every department was unreal.
Yeah.
And it really, I think it really had a big part of the success in the films because the crew never gets they're not here on the panels, but it matters that you buy the reality of the lair, that you buy the reality of the traps, the makeup, all of that stuff. There's so many things that can pull you out of the story of a movie watching it,
Yeah. That comes back to what you said, the consistency. Just it seems like the family again, kind of just growing from film to film.
But really talented. So somewhere you got some really you guys have really talented crews in all departments to learn from. You just got to find them. Just look up the crew list from Saw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and find those people and say, hey, can I apprentice? Can I apprentice?
All right, so I think for time to wrap things up, let's bring it back full circle to 2 decades. What do each of you cherish most about your lives and being part of the Saw franchise?
About our lives?
Yeah, like in
within
terms
the
of like your
movie?
life. Yeah.
Or
No,
life
no,
in
no. Like
general?
your life in general, now being part of that franchise.
Well, I'm a new father, and I have a 2-year-old daughter who I never thought I would feel any kind of joy like that I do with her. She's healthy, and having a healthy family and dealing with problems and fix them is great. As far as the Saw franchise, it's like it's a part of history that other people have enjoyed in other franchises. We're enjoying it, and it's still happening, and really many years have passed, and the fact that we're still here making an effort to maybe do it again, it's a pretty big deal.
That's awesome.
I can sum all that up in one quote from a children's book called The Rag Coat. And the quote is, "People need people and nothing else."
That's perfect. I'm going to go buy that for my 3-year-old.
I'm glad we have each other.
All right, well, Shawnee, Costas, thank you so much for joining us.
Give yourselves
today.
a round of applause.
I'm going to give you a standing ovation. Happy 20-year anniversary. We did it.
Yes, happy anniversary, kids.
You guys did that.